We're catching up with one half of Simogo here at the IGF portion of the GDC show floor. Simon, you were nominated for Gearwork. Sadly, no prize this year.
Outrageous, totally outrageous.
So I think I've played all 4 of your games, and Gearwork certainly seems like something that's come from a totally different direction than your previous work. What was the motivation going into the development of Gearwork?
We had been talking for quite a while about doing something not necessarily darker, but something that had more of a, I don't know, melancholic tone, or like being perhaps borderline horror. But we never really had like a concept to match that ambition. So a friend of mine had this short story script for a movie that he just casually sent me. And when I read it, I was like, oh wow, this has sort of like a game-like structure. And we started joking about, yeah, let's turn this into a game. And that's what we did.
It is. I mean, even I'm a Swede, but I'm not really familiar with all of the stuff that you're sort of covering here. Was it nice to sort of dig into that folklore, that sort of old traditions and that stuff to find these things?
Well, yes. I don't know, yeah. Super interesting. I've always had this interest in like old beliefs and all that kind of thing. So it's nice to finally do something based around that.
Did you try a Gearwork on your own?
We did not.
So it has a very sort of the gameplay mechanics aren't what you sort of normally see. What was your thought going into designing the gameplay of the game?
Actually, we didn't want to have like standard gameplay at all, or we didn't want to have mechanics at all, I would say. We want every element to be unique, and sort of the puzzles in themselves would be figuring out how to interact with them. So that was the basic concept of the gameplay. So the only thing that you actually do constantly is walking and swiping, and that's the only like reoccurring, is that an English word? Recurring gameplay element that you do all the time.
And I think that was what surprised me the most, because your previous games have sort of had a sort of a mechanic that sort of you learned and then you perfect it and sort of you try to get better at it, but this is something completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we it's nice to try and get away from that. I think we're very excited now and encouraged by this game to try and do stuff that isn't like that, not necessarily have to fit inside what the game box, so to speak. So I think that's a nice area to explore.
So obviously with your previous games you've sort of built a fan base. What was the reaction from fans? Because Gearwork was sort of came out of nowhere and then it was out there. How did people react to it?
I think most of our fans were delighted, actually. I don't think they like us because of a certain style or a certain gameplay style or whatever. I think they like that we constantly want to do our own thing.
And what's the road ahead for Simogo? What are your plans for the future? What kind of ideas are you sort of kicking around right now?
Now it's all about neuroscience and big corporations.
Exciting.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe something else.
But you're still heavily invested in iOS, and because that seems to be your platform of choice.
It's not that we're bound to it. We like the format and we know how it works. So the next one is probably going to be iOS too. But you never know.